Hey guys, good morning. Noel here from Calibre Wings. Welcome to our live stream on YouTube. Glad you can join us. First of all, if you can hear me all right, maybe you can give me a bit of a nod, a message or something. Okay, so basically, today's live stream is for me to get again to greet all of our fans, collectors, a chance for me to say hi again in the new year. Well, the stream that we did the last time, uh, was a couple of weeks back. I think it was the New Year, Christmas or New Year stream. I forgot. It's been too busy. Anyway, it's gonna be another few more days before the factory actually closes for the Chinese New Year holidays. It's gonna be 3 weeks where we are production stop. But in terms of myself, that 3 weeks will be spent planning for what's to come once the factory comes back from the vacation. So basically, the entire February is used up for the Lunar New Year holidays, and we'll be starting work come March. So we were in time to release our Ultimate Vipers. So we finally got them out and into the hands of distributors. For those who had purchased from us from our website, we have been starting to pack and send the orders. Of course, we hope that these models will arrive to you as soon as possible. But knowing that there is the situation in the world now where, you know, airmail can take up to a month or 2 months, we can only hope that the models get to you as soon as possible so that you can experience firsthand these F-16s. That has taken us a good 2 years and more to get out since we got the idea started. So today's stream is basically to talk about the Ultimate Vipers, the F-16s, the F-16 mold, the F-16 tooling that we have embarked on, and which we have called this series Ultimate Vipers. So before we actually did this tooling, of course, we had to look at this very niche community, this very niche market that we are in, this diecast skill model market. It is not a big market, but I always believe that it is a growing market. And if you are able to show the market what can be, then of course the market can decide for themselves whether or not they would like to have this menu of items. So coming back to why we embarked on the F-16 tooling, since there are already plenty of Fighting Falcon and Viper models in the market. For me, it's very simple. Um, what I see in the market is not what I would collect as a collector. So I was basically making something that I would like to collect. And for me, I have a personal passion for the F-16, and I would like to do something that is basically I can be proud of, right? And it's the ultimate. So we decided to put in the radar into the nose, And the idea wasn't actually to show that you can open the nose to display the radar. The idea was to have the radar in the nose. So even though the nose is covered, you know that this model has a radar inside. And likewise, is the same uh, philosophy for the entire model, the engine. It is not that you must always remove the engine and display it. That is not the case. The case is that you know that this model has the engine inside, and that this model is the most complete and fullest model, I dare say, in the market today. Because there is no hollow components. Even our F-14 does not have the engine inside. Our Fencer is also pretty hollow at some sections. So the F-16 is as good or as full a model that you can get on 172 scale. The engine is inside. It does not mean that you have to remove the engine to display, but you know that when you display an Ultimate Viper in your showcase, you know what's inside. You know what comprises this model. It has a pretty accurate Aces 2 ejection seat in the cockpit. And we had to do that because that is one of the most distinctive parts of an F-16, that the ejection seat is at, if I'm not mistaken, a 30-degree incline angle. So that is very visibly shown in our model. Plus the fact that I've always wanted the F-16 model, even though if I didn't do it and if there was one out there, I would have been satisfied. That if you look into the air intake, you have got to see at least that it has depth and not blocked, like a wall. So this was a challenging part of consideration when we designed this model. How was it possible to have the air intake all the way through, and yet you still need to change out the landing gear undercarriage? So the moment you swap out the undercarriage, there is no way you can have a true air intake. Because even if you are able to do it for the front landing gear, the fact that the main landing gear well has to come out as a whole, that already limits you from having any true air intake, which was why we devised the entire belly has to be separated and you exchange the entire section. And that way you can have the air intake all the way through. And if you shine a light, you can definitely see the turbofans on that little 72 scale engine. So the F-16 has been delivered, the first wave, and we have put out a few videos. One is to introduce the details of the model. Two, unboxing and instructional videos. So they're all available on our YouTube channel. Hope you view them. And if you have any other questions, you can always leave us a comment and we'll get back to you. So regarding this Vipers again, it's been a painstaking journey because you know it wasn't all smooth sailing in regards to us embarking on the tooling. And of course, we have learned quite a bit on how to do things better next time. In any case, we have come through and we have gotten the first wave out. And once the factory comes back from Chinese New Year, we have already announced our second and third wave models. So basically, the second wave model would be one from the Pacific Air Force, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Primo. That is a test pilot that is based in Japan. So I found that that particular F-16 to be very interesting, and of course we have gotten uh, great assistance from our collector base. Our fans email us this particular aircraft's photographs and details, and we're able to replicate it as closely as possible on our model. The second one in Wave 2 is the MiG Killer. This MiG Killer, also because this year is the anniversary of Desert Storm. This particular F-16D shot down a MiG during Desert Storm. So the livery that we're going to be doing for this particular aircraft does not have the kill mark yet, because at the time of the engagement, obviously there wasn't this kill mark on the aircraft. So that explains why the aircraft that we're making is of that particular squadron instead of what most of us are related to. And we have also announced the third wave, which features a very awesome looking, sleek black F-16C and one for the RSAF. Hopefully, that will make it in time for Singapore's National Day in August. And subsequently, we'll be making more of the Ultimate Vipers. Now, there's been some questions that was asked about how we were going to maybe do an F-16 that doesn't have the engine and doesn't have the radar. But at the moment, that would not be the case. Because as I mentioned, um, the whole essence of our Vipers constitute all these parts. If you take away the engine, if you take away the radar and dump it down, then it is no longer the Ultimate Viper. So unless something drastic happens in the marketplace, we are going to be producing our Vipers always with the included accessories. Hey, thank you so much for your comment. Nice to see you here. Okay, so moving along to this stream, is just to be able to relate with you guys on how we are going about this project, especially the fact that we have sculpted, in my opinion, really nice looking pilots for the F-16. And this was also part of the delay that we experienced because our sculptor is not with us physically. We communicate remotely. So it is not easy for us to achieve the pilot position in the cockpit of this F-16. And now that we're touching on this subject, I'd like to share with you guys some of the stuff that we've learned. And hopefully in the future, I could probably implement as part of our continuous vision to watch Kaizen. So let me touch a little bit about the pilot and the cockpit. So for the pilots, we had made two versions, one with the HGU 55 helmets and one with the joint helmet mounted queuing system. So that one will be available in the later waves, but currently we are focused on pilots with the HGU 55. Having the pilot sit into the cockpit was definitely a challenge. As I just mentioned, the sculptor is working remotely. It was done on a computer, and even though we have the files for them to work on, it is always different when it comes to the physical thing. So we did the sculpt, we output the sample, we put it into the cockpit. It didn't quite fit. We had to adjust it, and so on and so forth. So we went through about 3 or 4 adjustments. Even the final pilot that was released in this wave one will still be adjusted further so that wave two pilots will be more comfortably fitted into the cockpit. So, why are these pilots so difficult? It's because I had, how should I say this? I didn't see the fact that our cockpit is not exactly 1:72 scale. Now, why do I say that? Because for the tooling to be made possible, the cockpit has to be straight when the tool injects out the part. Now, the F-16 cockpit is not straight. The F-16 cockpit is curved, meaning that the control panels on the left and right are basically within the curved section of the F-16. Now, because we had to have everything be in that straight confinement instead, not able to see this before made the ejection seat smaller, because now we have the side panels inside, and therefore the seat became smaller. And that was why I was confused before why the pilots that we had done for the F-14, they were 72 scale, why couldn't they fit into the F-16? Because the ejection seat was actually smaller. So the way to correct this going forward next time is actually to remove the side panels. The side panels must be removed so that the ejection seat gets its proper width, and then the pilot sits inside properly. But that's for next time. We cannot always be adjusting and adjusting without product being put out. Now, speaking of this con- constraint of the cockpit space, so earlier today I did a live video. I actually wanted to do it on YouTube as a live stream, but unfortunately, the reception for data connection at the factory was simply abysmal. It would have been difficult or meaningless for us to do a very blurry live stream showing you intricate parts that you can't see clearly. So I cut short that particular stream. I recorded in one take the unboxing and the assembly of the Hellenic Viper, including some bloopers. And in that video, I also made a blooper because when I put the pilot into the seat, after we had done all these adjustments, I was actually quite taken aback that the canopy couldn't close. Now, that was soon remedied with my subsequent video that I put out, because in that take, I had actually placed the pilot and he sat onto the throttle stick. So that's why he was always being propped up. He couldn't be pressed down. All right. So that was my bad. It was really tough to actually film the whole procedure when the camera is in front of me. I can't really see what's going on. So I did it to the best of my ability. And I was just so puzzled why I couldn't get the pilot into the seat because I had done it before. So, but the show must go on, as they always say. It's a one take, so I couldn't, stop it and then do certain things. So I soldiered on. But at the end of the day, when I looked at it again, I realized, oh my goodness, I had actually placed the pilot sitting onto the throttle stick. So I lifted up that throttle stick, placed the pilot in, and voila, everything was smooth. But still, we are uh, going to improve the pilot because the right hand was just a little bit too front, such that it is interfering with the flight stick. Now I can show you all these things on the screenshot, screen capture, but because I'm also having some problems with this computer, meaning that I'm streaming to you guys on my laptop without VPN, while my other computer, which is on VPN that can show you all the things, it's not connected at all. So I apologize. Next time I will, do better, and then hopefully I can show you guys my screen, and then we can share along. I'm just gonna pause a while to just say hello to all our guys joining the stream. So what side panels? The control panels on the in the cockpit. Okay. Okay. We'll get to the questions later. Let me just finish explaining the what I'm, what I want to tell you guys. So 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 the video was done. We had a nice video that shows the instructions properly with music and stuff, and then with a very raw, unedited, uncut instructional video on the Hellenic. So you can see for yourself, and hopefully when you get the model, you can reference this video and then get the things done properly. Now, in regards to our joints, there is definitely plans in the future for us to upgrade the tooling to include magnetic components. But we can't do that just yet because we have already spent the time and effort to perfect this tooling to this stage. And we have to roll out product in order for us to get revenue back so that we can continue doing the amazing job for you guys, right? But I do appreciate the fact that we have, you know, joint issues. And the reason why there are issues is because I didn't want the pegs to be a huge and thick piece of tab or a peg. I wanted it to be as minimal as possible. So that's why we had a little pin and a tab. It's all very minimal. Again, I'm doing these models as close to scale as I possibly can. And when I do this, I give up rigidity and sturdiness for size and accuracy. Because the moment you adjust the model to fit with something that is bigger, then your skill goes off. And that's always been a compromise or a difficult uh, decision and brainstorming that we need to fight with. Do we? I mean, do obviously a screw would be great to hold two metal pieces together, but we don't want to see that big screw, right? So we are always finding ways to do it so that we can hide all these screws or big lumpy joints. And that's what you see with caliber models. So, having said that, I would like to maybe implore our collectors that if you experience certain looseness, and these are only on external parts, we will make sure that all our internal parts are as sturdy as possible. For example, our F14 uh, vertical stabilizers, they're all screwed in. Okay, it won't come loose. We have tightened the swing wings on the SU-24 fencer. If you have the wave 1 and wave 2, and when you get your hands on wave 3, the camouflage SU-24 MK, you notice that the sweep wings are very rigid now because we're always improving. As I mentioned again, we can't do it right the first time. And I think somebody has also mentioned this. When you are when you are going into the wilderness like a hike, virgin territory, you don't know what's in front of you. You will bash it, you will get cuts, you might fall, but you are paving the way forward. But the guy behind you would have an easier path because you have already, paved through the bushes and the thick forestation. If you get what I'm saying. So for Caliber, when we embark on these things that were not done before, we are getting ourselves into trouble. We're going to fall, we're going to get cut, we're going to go the wrong way. But that is our philosophy because we know that at the end of that direction is where we are going to be. That's where we're headed for. So, enough of philosophy stuff. Let's get back to model. So, again, the Ultimate Vipers, we have delivered the first wave. I feel satisfied because we have also have a reputation that the F14 that first came out wasn't good. The Fencer that first came out had problems. So obviously, any betting man would confirm that the first F16 would have problems as well. But I think not this case, not this time. As much as we have separated parts, the nose, the engine, the body itself, gaps are really at the minimal, if any. The only gap I would admit to you on is the little gap that might be present on the F-16C mid killer when the canopy is closed. Again, this is a little bit due to the pilot that has the arms, a little bit spanned out. So we are doing dual corrections at the same time. The new pilots in wave 2 will be corrected, and the canopy will also be readjusted so that we have a good fit from the second wave onwards. In regards to the packaging, we have gone ahead to explore the use of this EVA foam because we have had situations whereby the blister tray gets disintegrated, which we have no idea, but we have some idea maybe because these blisters that we use are basically environmentally free PET material. If you Google PET, you'll notice that this PET is recyclable. They are used on blisters on almost every toy maker like Hasbro, Takara. They use PET. But then again, these companies they make plastic toys. So when the plastic toy gets thrown around, it doesn't have the impact to potentially destroy the blister. Now we're doing die-cast models, and indeed, when these models are shipped to certain countries at very cold temperatures, it just might freeze the plastic to be brittle enough so that when there's a throwing impact, the blister is gone, even though the box outside remains intact. So it is something that we are faced with. It's not all the time, but as long as it happens some of the time, we need to take note of it and see how we can prevent it from happening next time. So we explored this new EVA train because actually the F-16 would be light enough to be placed in a blister and it should still work because we have the F-14 in the blister, we have the SU-24 in the blister, and again, out of 100 times that we ship, maybe just 2 or 3 times we experience something really drastic. But still, it is in our nature to never rest on our laurels and keep on exploring. So we have customers and collectors who say, hey, how about doing it with the styrofoam and stuff like that. So first of all, unless things takes a drastic turn, we will never use styrofoam to protect our models because with the styrofoam, it defeats our philosophy of having you flip open a window and look at the model there and there. We do not like the concept of you not seeing what's inside, opening up the box, opening up the white styrofoam, and then seeing the model. I mean, it might protect the model, but we're not just all about protection, we're about aesthetic as well. The reason why we make each and every model's box art uniquely different, the effort that goes in every single box, that is our mental. Hold on, my screen just went black. Hold on. Just gonna look at some of the comments here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, we're exploring this EVA foam with the first F-16 batch. So as it ships out, we will get the feedback soon. Of course, we're hopeful that this works, and when this works, we can carry on this concept and maybe even bring the F-14 over to such a packaging. All right. Okay. So we talked about the the pilots, the cockpit, the parts. We talked about the packaging. What else do we need to talk about? Um, Let me just read your comments first. Okay, Jedi Inferno 337. You said, do you plan any aggressors F-16? Of course, we are planning aggressors F-16. We just need to wait for them. Okay. Um, I know this might be kind of unrelated, but how far is the Hustler coming along? Okay. As I have mentioned in my other video, and I'll just mention it again, the Hustler is currently in 3D modeling stage because we had some issues with the previous 3D modeler in a sense that the guy quit. So we have been finding another person that is capable enough to make this 3D model. That's where we stand. There's no way to sugarcoat it. That's where we stand. We have all the data, we have all the heart to do it. We just need to find the right person, and this will be done this year. So yes, the Wrath is what I talked about just now. The black F-16 that will be in Wave 3. Hey, the official bearded pixel. Hello to you. Okay, so I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. It's Mr. Sapling. Okay. So do I make an F-16 with a wash, and would there be a bomb missile pack? Now you see the F-16 with the wash. I got to give it straight with you guys because our model is so ultimate in terms of the number of parts. That has contributed greatly to the production costs. And hence, that is why the F-16 is priced at this price point, similar to the F-14, similar to the Fencer. But I can rest assure you that the F-16's production cost is actually much more than the Fencer and the F-14. But we are not able to further increase the price because we understand that there's a certain ceiling that the market can take. So we will, accept what we reap from the higher costs but the lesser returns. So if the F-16 is going to be done in wash, it will only be done as a full weathered model, meaning we have toning and we have wash. It will not just be a wash. Reason because the aircraft is pretty small and we have created the panel lines to be in such a way that it's already pretty distinct when there is no wash. So the moment the wash comes in, it would likely create an effect that I will not be agreeable to, meaning that you'll see the panel lines being overly exaggerated by the wash. So that is my answer. And will there be a bomb and missile pack? So as I mentioned earlier in this stream, the final goal is for us to evolve the Viper as well as our other models because we recognize that there is an imminent demand for these magnetic components. But again, like I said, we cannot do it tomorrow. We have to get ourselves up and running with a few releases, and then we can come back and look at putting these retooling in place, putting the magnets, and then giving you guys a range of ordnance systems that you are requesting for. Now, speaking of this, I hope I'm not digressing because it's just a chat session with you guys. So anything and everything that I talk about pertains to your interests, even though it might rattle or, how should I say this? It might alert the industry. So let me bring you guys back to tooling a model. When we tooled the F-14, we had given the F-14 its own range of missiles. When we tooled the F-16, we have given the F-16 its own tooling of missiles. Now, what do I mean? I mean that the AIM 9L on the F-14 is different from the AIM 9L on the F-16. Now, how can that be, right? Well, because when the model was 3D drawn by this guy, it wasn't drawn by this other guy when we did the F-16. So different modelers at different point of time, they drew the missiles slightly differently. So that's something that I only realized on hindsight. And that's something that I'm totally very uneasy and I am adamant to change. Now, how am I going to change it? I'm going to change it in such a way that a missile, if it's a Sidewinder, 9L, 9X, whatever, if that is carried by the F-16 and also can be carried by the F-14, you can use Calibre's missile and it fits both aircraft. And that goes for everything. Your MRAMs, your bombs, as long as it is one type of ordnance. If it's from the US arsenal, it must be able to fit any other aircraft in the US arsenal that uses the same ordnance. It cannot be one and another, and then with that slight difference. Either the fins are a little bit bigger, smaller, the length. That's not the way. So this is something that we are looking into going forward. So do not be surprised that in the future we will release models once the magnetic components are in place to be totally bare of ordnance, and you can purchase the ordnance pack separately. So that's for the future. And let's see. So another message here from the official Bearded Pixel. Calibre models have always brought the details of die-cast models as close to a plastic kit as possible. There will always be sacrifices between rigidity and accuracy. Yes, thank you very much for understanding. Okay. Adding the removable nose cone to reveal the radar for the F-15 would be a good move forward. Well, we'll see. All right, we'll see about the F-14 because it's going to take a whole lot of effort and finances to make the F-14 as ultimate as the Viper. But we will see how it goes. All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so Jamie Aquino. So I patiently await for the USAF half glass Viper. Yes, we are actually already drawing that. Okay. So when is the exit of Viper Primo? That would be released in the second wave. So that would be, I believe, April or May, May. All right. So I'm doing this stream because also at this time is actually about 3:15 a.m. where I am at. Um, the last time round we did it in at 9 a.m. in the morning, and some folks were saying that it was a bit too late for them. So I'm uh, doing it at this time and see how it goes. I'll try to accommodate as many time slots as I can because you guys are what makes Calibre, right? So without you guys, I'm doing all these models for nothing. So it's always good to be able to interact. So so you said you have planned that the canopy removable. Is it like the F14 canopy? Yes, of course. So actually, this is only again it's overlooking on the part of the factory and myself because we're so engrossed with so many other things, right? The canopies are always meant to be removable. It was just that in an oversight, they had wanted to secure the canopy in such a way that they actually clamp it down. So there was just no way to remove the current F-16D's canopy. If you were to remove it, you will surely break it because the clamp is in such a way whereby it's holding the canopy down really solidly. But we don't need that. In this design and configuration, you don't need the securing anchor to be so tight. So what we just need to do is to simply, come up with the curvature for the pegs on the canopy plastic that can still open, and then you can easily remove it, and it will not break, and everybody's happy. But it requires the tooling for wave two. All right, so we are coming up to 48-50 minutes of this stream. Um, and yeah, basically, I wanted to just get in touch with everybody to talk about this Vipers. And, I mean, it's something new, it's something that we've promised and we've delivered. Now it's up to the models to be get into the hands of you guys. You guys can assess it yourself and give us the feedback, whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? So hopefully it's a thumbs up that will spur us on for future waves. And so all I can say is that the evolution of the model will will be there. This is one key part of our what's the word I'm looking for? I'm lost for my words. So it's one key part of Calibre is that every time we're always looking to improve. There's no question about that. There are definitely plans in the pipeline, and I'll share with you guys as soon as I get nearer to those plans. And yeah, I think it'll be a very interesting time going forward, as long as the market is acceptable to what we're doing. Because sometimes when you do things different, people are not comfortable. People are comfortable with the norms. They want something that is normal. When it becomes too intricate and too difficult, then people are apprehensive. Which is why, Calibre's models are not for everybody. We are doing these models so that the people who can appreciate them as works of art are the ones that we are aiming towards. Make no mistake that every single model is done with all the heart and soul, and especially at the color selection. Now, speaking of the color selection, I'll just talk a little bit about the colors because, yes, we all know that there is FS colors for the aircrafts. Now, again, my philosophy is very simple. If you have the same colors for the same types of aircraft every time, you'll be looking at a very stagnant display when you display out your entire range of USAF Falcons, for example. But the fact is that when an aircraft is in operation, whether it be for peacetime or for conflict, there will be this thing called weathering. Not the kind of weathering that is totally dirty, but oxidation of the colors, etc. Some aircrafts are maintained and new paint is put on, and then they got different, tones here and there. So our philosophy is very simple. We want to make the model that you have in your hand as accurate as possible in terms of color as well to the real thing. Which was why the Hellenic Viper was such a challenge. And we'll be having a live stream in February with two Greek uh, how's it collectors. Um, we'll announce that pretty soon. We'll have them onto the stream, and we'll have a chat about these Hellenic Vipers, their involvement in it, their assistance towards us to create the model, and much more. So look out for that. But let me just touch on first on this particular Hellenic colors. I have actually gone through at least four different color attempts. The first time is to just give it the original color. Okay, give it the original color and then wash it. But again, like as I mentioned, this attempt was not correct because the wash did not create the desired effect as what I wanted. So the next thing was to change the colors. And because this particular Hellenic with the Heflas, it creates a very blackish feel. And yet you can't really paint the whole thing black, nor can you mist it with black. Because when you do something like that, then you are there is no consistency. Each worker's misc is different. And when it comes to mass production, then you'll be getting basically rubbish, I would say. So it cannot be done. So the final thing to do was to tune the colors so that each camouflage color, there's three tones, they had to be as close as possible, which was why we came up with that particular color for the sample in Wonder Festival last October. But what was funny is that the colors with the naked eye looks a little bit green, but there was no green involved at all. They were all grays. And also because in that particular attempt, the camouflage patterns were not distinct. So we thought that, having all this effort to make the colors and the camouflage, and yet if you can't really see it distinctively to the collector, it might be like a lot of effort for nothing. So we tune it one more time before production, and that's what we got today. A more distinctive camouflage pattern, but still dark enough for it to pass off as the half glass. But if you ask me, I'm still not satisfied because I know it can be done better. It was just because we were really crunched for time that we have to make a decision, right? If we keep testing and testing, and mind you, these colors are not easy. Even in actual professional paints, there's always some discrepancy. Nobody can get back the same gray every time. There is no button that you push and then the gray that you want comes out. Every color has to be mixed, and that's the truth. So when you give them a color code, they will mix it to the best of their ability to match your color. And for those who may have some experience with color mixing, you will know that if you get this now, doesn't mean you'll get it the same the next time, and that's just the way it is. So these colors are difficult to achieve, and we had to make a choice to go ahead, and hence we did what we did, and the Hellenic colors are the final ones that you see in this production lot. But because I'm not satisfied, so you can be rest assured, down the road we will probably do another A model Hellenic, because what we did so far is the double seater. So there is an avenue for the single seater. So we'll see, right? Not so soon, but we'll see. So colors, we are always there to make it good, as you can probably tell from our model so far, and even our latest F-14s that's coming out, the two Top Guns. We had spent more than just one time to look at the color, to confirm it, and even when we confirm it, we adjust it again, because the first time when you confirm something, it's your first feel. If you sit down and think about it, the next day you come back, you see something else, and that's when and that I guess sets us apart. We're not gonna just settle, right? It's simple to settle, but we know that if we go for simple and settle, that is not us. So we should make a documentary type video of what goes into making these models. We actually did make a simple behind the scenes with our F-14 VF-31 Tomcatters. If you check it out in our YouTube, we have some simple. Sorry, we have some simple video footage on that. But of course, the rest of it, the documentary you're talking about, the more in-depth stuff, it's again, see, doing all these YouTube and video editing is not my main job. I'm doing this out of my usual routine, because this is what is important for us to reach out to you guys and be in touch, knowing that the models that you are getting comes from this. I mean, I could easily not do all these social media stuff, just make the models like everybody else. Uh, but again, that's not us. We feel that there is, again, and I've mentioned in the last stream, that we are presented with this technology. If we don't use it, it's a waste. So so getting back to your question about this documentary thing, uh, look into it. I'll be keen of doing it, but I need more than just myself. There to be somebody filming me doing the things, and then that you can get a real documentary. Otherwise, just myself doing all these things, it can't get as documentary as you can be. So, sir, you said you raised the bar with regards to skill, fidelity, and attention to detail. Thank you very much. These are indeed little works of art, and I look forward to what you are coming down the line. Thank you. No, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. So these are the appreciation that drives us on to do better. Models are accurate and can be compared to the handmade plastic models. All right. Yeah, so I think this is basically the crux of it all, because the reason why caliber models are caliber models, because we are making die-cast models as accurate as possible. And there are always limitations. When you put a very well tooled plastic kit against our model, will definitely pale in comparison. But when you lift up both models, then you will see the difference in terms of that weight that everybody in this collecting community loves, is that weight, which plastic kit will never give you. However, plastic kit will always give you the most accurate panel line, seamless joints, because it's a kit. Everything is put together and sand and filled with putty. But do we have the time and effort and skill to put a kit together? And that's the reason why we have action figures and collectibles, because nobody can put together the Iron Man, right? The people who love these genres don't have the time to put together an Iron Man to display. So they'll just go and purchase from the makers who makes the good stuff, and that's the way we roll. Similarly, that we are doing this because you guys love these aircraft. You guys love these aircraft as models, and you want them to be as accurate as possible. Again, our models are not perfect, they are far from accurate, but we do our best to make them as accurate as possible. And we'll always be learning. All right. So, yeah, so I think we mentioned this before already. All right, guys. So, coming up to 1 hour of this stream, I hope you have enjoyed so far what I have to narrate and share. So, is there any other further questions that you would like me to address? Otherwise, we are probably gonna start to wind down the stream. Manga comics. Yeah, I think this question has been posed to us before about World War II planes. Um, you see, I got to be honest with you because as much as I love to do it, we are faced with certain constraints such as time, and most importantly, time. Now, if we had a bigger team, then we can have the World War II section, the drone section, the Soviet section, the Navy section, right? So anything is possible if there is enough resources. But for the time being, we are going to be focused on doing what we do best. And again, a lot of it comes down to what we know. We can only do the best work if we love what we do, including loving the subject. So if there is a subject that we are unfamiliar with, we have no relation with, yes, we can study, research, and that's the example I can give you for the U2, for example. When we researched on the U2, even though initially we had no real desire to make the U2, but once we had uh, members of the community reach out to us, share with us all these information, we looked into it. It's like reading a book. If the story is interesting, you get hooked on it. We found that the U2 is so intriguing, and then we wanted to do the U2. See, so it's about spending the time to know the subject, get acquainted with it, and only then can we produce something that is respectable. All right. So, so basically, what I did today was I had my second last day at the factory. I'll be going to the factory again on this Friday, and this Friday we will be taking photographs of the Splinter F-14. So I expect the Splinter F-14's photographs of the production SAM model to be out on Friday. I'm really excited about that because I think we did good on the Splinter. Yes, my friend. Um, what is it if I'm going to bullshit you, right? If I'm going to say yes, we're going to do the World War II. Yes, we're going to do this and that. But in the end, if I'm not doing it, then what's the point? But like I said, I am interested in a few World War II subjects, in particular the B-29. But I have to, because many critics of Calibre has also said, right? Don't start announcing all these things and then you have nothing to show. So let us get the stuff that we have promised out first, and then rest assured that we're always working in the engine room. We're never just doing this today and then nothing's happening behind. There's always something happening behind so that when this is done, behind comes forward. And that's planning. So regarding the Joy Rogers, so what happened was this. We had initially planned for the Joy Rogers to be out in January, but because of certain things that has transpired, and also because we had always wanted to do the two Top Gun models that we have announced on the F-14, the Splinter and the Desert Camel, right? I mean, the whole essence of us doing the Top Gun series is to make all these Top Gun models. So as things transpired, we had to expedite the production of these two models first. So they were in turn put in place in front of the queue, and then Joy Rogers was pushed back. But rest assured, the delay will be worth it. We have very in-depth research on this particular bird, the 1977 VF-84. We will announce very soon the people who has helped us with the project. Again, we have gone with a bold move in the color selection of the VF-84. Now, the VF-84, anybody will tell you that is the light gall gray, but our color is not as warm as what you would think. It's cooler, and this cooler effect is going to look pretty nice. So wait for it. So the B29 in 172 scale is just slightly bigger than the U2. It's not that big. I think in this genre of models, I mean, we can't possibly do everything. We got to be realistic, right? We can't possibly do everything. But whatever that we do, we have to do the best of it, and that's the key. That's the ultimate key. If I'm going to be doing lots of stuff and everything, there's no heart in it because you are pressurized to churn out the project. There is pressure, right? There's pressure to in anything. There's pressure, right? Right now, you guys are facing your own pressures, right? And my pressure is you guys may be feeling concerned about an F-16 that is overpriced, but rest assured that the F-16 is priced appropriately because of its production value and cost. Now, it does not mean that a smaller model automatically equals a cheaper price. It can be true if we're talking just about material. So the F-14, based on only material, is going to be more expensive than the F-16. But the F-14 has actually less parts than the F-16. So when you talk about the number of parts involved, the number of processes involved, labor, and you add it all up, then it makes sense. It makes sense for where the F-16 is priced, where it's priced today. And I must admit, there was a time back a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago when we were quoted mistakenly by the vendor who was basically not professional enough and thought that, oh, F-16 is smaller, so therefore it's like half the price of F-14. But totally it's not the case. So I hope that this explanation can once and for all put to bed the issue of the price of the F-16. Are you thinking of expanding your distributions, as in, will you make models available in more? We are always looking for distribution because distribution is key. But that's another thing. That's sales. That's not the models. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about our models. We're talking to you guys about the story of the models, the intricacy of the models. So we will leave sales aspect of it out of the conversation. All right. So I think that's about it. We are an hour and 15 minutes in. I'll probably just do another 15 minutes, make it 90 minutes, and we'll call it a day. So what else am I gonna can I share before? So yeah, this Friday will be my last day at the factory before they break for Chinese New Year, and it will be 3 weeks for the vacation, and we'll come back in March. And in March, we'll be doing our our the rest of our models. But before that, of course, we'll share with you guys the F-14 Splinter from Top Gun. That's gonna be looking pretty. All right, guys. I think if there's no other questions, then I might call it a day because I'm currently also out of my thoughts. It's been a long day. I was up at about 7 a.m. in the morning, and now it's coming to 4, which means in another 3 hours I'll be up 24 hours. So any special demo anniversary schemes planned for the F-16? Now, the demo scheme that's planned is Primo. That's one. Anniversary schemes, we'll look into it. Currently, we have liveries planned, but they are not for like the elaborate decoration. I'm more focused on doing like operational liveries for the Viper in this year, especially since it is the anniversary of Desert Storm. So we hope to churn out a few Desert Storm F-16s this year to commemorate the Gulf War. And then we can look at, the more elaborate stuff. Thank you very much. We do our best because we know that you guys are there. That's for sure, right? We started the Facebook, and we're actually very, very happy that we have 6,000 likes on our page, and these are all organic. We can easily pay Facebook, and then we can get about 20,000, 60,000. Some other people, some companies that are also in the collectibles field, they got 200,000 likes, 500,000. But how many of those are organic? At Calibre Wings, like, every single one of you who has liked our page and follow our page are organic fans and followers, not paid. You guys are not some random bot clicking on our like because we paid for some subscription. So that's something that we are very much true to, and we know you're out there. We see your comments when we post stuff on Facebook. At times, we want to tell you more, but sometimes the when we type is we can just put a few things because there's just so much to do, right? So I guess in these interaction when it's not so, I guess it's more relaxed, right? If I'm more relaxed, I can actually spend time to interact, right? We interact because at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, you guys are what makes us us, because we only make a model, right? If the model is there and nobody buys it, then it's no use. I'm just making a model for myself. So thank you very much for all the support. And like I said, it's how I wish we can, perhaps next time we'll do invite you guys up on the stream as well, and we can have a chit chat. That's something we can look forward to next time. Stroke tree viper, what is that? Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, guys, I think I will wrap up from here. Thank you very much for joining me this evening, this morning, wherever you are. I appreciate you. And until the next time we meet, stay safe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.